Hello there, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for being with me today. I appreciate having your company for a little while. And here we are back in Planet Zoo. This is in our town project. So this is my town that I'm building within the game without animals. So nothing to do with zoos, I'm afraid. This is purely a town building project. So lots of different buildings, trying to be as creative as I can basically, and having a lot of fun as well. So in our last episode we built a small low office building here. Then we built this office building, which is one company owns all of this, so it's Inc. Insurance Incorporated owns that one. And we also built Charlie's Cafe here, this pretty nifty little pink building here, where I used a media board here to create sort of an interior for the cafe there. So yeah, very pleased with how that turned out. Today we are doing two buildings, so a large one on the corner here which you can see and I will explain in a minute, and then there'll be an apartment building that I build over here as well, all in this episode. So this building here, let's move on with this. I decided to bring the road in here, so obviously I got that done first to create this shape. And then I wanted to do a nice corner building here, so obviously I've done it with curves. And then I wanted to overlap it with this one, because certainly in England all these old buildings, you know, they're all connected. All of these things over the years, everything's got connected. There's not an inch wasted. You do find little alleyways, of course, like I've left room here for a little space for people to walk between buildings, but certainly in an area like this they would all be touching each other. So that's that. And what it will also allow me to do, excuse my dodgy camera work, it also allows me to have ladders and things, for example, between roofs. So that is something that I do here. Once this actually has its roof on, I do a ladder coming up from one to the other. And eventually, in fact, I think I do a ladder coming over the back of here as well. So you know, that's the sort of thing you do find in England. A lot of these roofs, if you get up on them, not that you can usually, but they're all connected to each other, and you'll get all the electrics and things all sort of going from one building to the next. But anyway, this building here, I really liked the idea of having these huge glass windows at the bottom going all the way around the corner. The only problem, or not the only problem, but the main issue that I'm going to have doing this sort of thing is that it sort of forces you to try and create an interior. Now obviously when you've just got a couple of flat windows like this, I can use these media boards to put in a fake interior. When you have them curved like this, it's not as easy as that. I do try it later on with a shop that I make right over here actually. That's going to be in a couple of episodes time. But with something like this, the media boards just don't work because you can't get them on corners, and just trying to actually get them in here and make them look good was not very realistic. So this building, which I designed, I really liked the shape of it, and then I had to think, so what's this actually going to be building? Because of course there's not a lot of backstage stuff in the game, in Planet Zoo. There's not that much, but the one thing that there is a lot of are pottery items. So that is what this becomes. It becomes a pottery shop, or indeed a pot shop. Yeah, you'll see what I do with it. It doesn't look great, the interior, but there really is only so much you can do, and I'm not as worried about getting the interiors looking good as I am trying to make the buildings look good. You know, it's the buildings that I want to enjoy building and being creative with, not so much what you can see within the window spaces, because obviously most buildings have windows. Certainly in a town, all the shops have big open windows, and I'm not going to be able to make all of them look really good like this one. It's just not realistic, unfortunately. So I'll have to sort of solve all those issues as I go along. But anyway, so that was the basic shape that I wanted to do, and then my idea was that the main door would be in this bit of wall here. So there we go. So that is going to be the shape of the building. So let me load up my next save point and see what I do next. Well, there you go. You can see what it is now. Pots are us. So this is a play on the well-known brand, which is Toys R Us. which actually I don't think exists anymore. It might exist in America and possibly other countries, but in England, Toys R Us actually went bust a couple of years ago, unfortunately. So yeah, no longer exists, but this was just a little play on words. So it's Pots R Us. This sign was quite good fun actually to make. So you can see there's 30 objects in this. So these are new pieces, these European edge pieces here. So these are the larger ones, so I've just sort of combined them on the side there, and then there's 4 of these on the corners here, and then the back pieces are, what are these, just limestone wall panels to fill in the backdrop. I think that looks really nice. It's really ornate, it's really over the top, and obviously it would be very heavy, but my thinking is obviously this is a nice sturdy wall, and it would all be sort of reinforced with steel rods and stuff, so I think I can get away with it. I tried a few different designs for this. At one point I tried to do like LED lights, but the LED lights are in the game are just rubbish, quite frankly, so I couldn't do the lettering. It just didn't work at all. I might try it on some other shop or something somewhere, but yeah, for now that just didn't work for this one. So this is what I came up with, and I kind of like it because it's really big. Look at that as you walk around the corner. Pots R Us, yes. You know what they sell straight away. And so this is what I've managed to do inside. In fact, you can see I've changed the wall a little bit. So I put this brick here. I can't remember, I think the brick is new at the bottom here as well. I can't remember what was there in the last cut, but I put a layer of brick along the bottom and then a layer of brick just along the top of the roof here, sorry, the glass wall, which then stops here. I didn't want it to be a band around the entire building, so it is only around the window area. And then inside, wooden floor and a wooden roof with a couple of hanging lights. Actually, no, it's a concrete roof, sorry, with some hanging lights on it. I put a door in here, so obviously the shop workers need access to this area. And then just some simple shelving. So again, this is just a floor in here, basically, just sunk back like this into the building. And various different pots that are in the game, all just there. Just sort of displayed. So again, it's not spectacular, unfortunately, but it really is the best you can do with the pieces that we have in the game. So yeah, so that's that. It's not brilliant, but it'll do. It's sort of the best I can do, really. Windows, again, nice and simple. I made them black because I thought the black looked really good against the white limestone wall. So those are all around here. I haven't done anything at the back yet because I don't know what I'm doing behind the building, whether there'll be another building on the back there or not. The door here, I kind of like how this worked out actually. So again, the door was pretty straightforward. I think that is just a single piece, the door. Yes, it is. Just classic door number 1 with a little light behind it. I wanted some sort of canopy, so I just put this glass piece on, and I put one of these this is another new piece, these European ceiling fans. And then this is a ceiling light cable here, just holding it up. I thought, why would there be a fan there? Well, why not? If it's hot, you want to cool down your customers before they walk in. So there we go. And then obviously something needs to be supporting this, and I didn't want to put posts outside here, so I've made it so it's suspended from the wall with these nice big sort of steel rods. What are these pieces actually? I can't quite remember what I used. Oh, this is the same as I used in here, this European ceiling light cable that I used to support that. I just used it to make these sort of solid looking rods that connect it to the wall there. So yeah, I thought that looks pretty cool. A little detail here that I quite enjoyed was some guttering. So this is just a simple gutter piece that I painted black so that it stands out nicely, and it comes up the wall here and it goes into the wall at the top. So this top piece, I had to use one of these ones to make it look like it's disappearing into the wall. And then what I've just done on the other side, obviously the roof is on now, so you've got this sort of breeze block roof, and I just put this little drain cover here, this little vent, so it looks like, so it looks like the water would sort of gather and go through there and get put into this drain pipe to come down the wall into the ground. One other little detail that I added to the cafe as well, because these are new pieces that I discovered, were these neon signs. So you've got a coffee cup there and a bottle of Coke or whatever there, which I thought was appropriate for Charlie's Cafe. I thought they were really nice pieces actually, so I will certainly be using them more if I do other sort of restaurants or cafes. but I thought they suited the sort of the theme of this, the look with the bunting particularly, sort of a bit cheesy, but I kind of thought it worked. I do some more detailing out here. I remember, I'm sure I put a bin down here somewhere, possibly another bench or something somewhere. Can't quite remember. So I'm not sure what's in the next cut. There is more. I also do the ladder coming over here. So I think there's probably one more cut of this building, and then we'll move over to the second building for this episode. But this building is kind of there. I can't remember if I do more detailing around the windows or anything yet. Because of course not every building needs tons of detailing. That's not how modern buildings are. A lot of them will be quite plain and simple like this. You know, I'm not going to super detail. This one is fairly over detailed, but then I kind of like the theme of that being a nice brand new building. Stuff like this, it's probably an older building and it's just been replastered, so it's not necessarily going to have beams all over it and cross patterns and all sorts of stuff like that. It might well just be as simple as it looks. But let me load up my next save point and we'll see. Yeah, so there is just a little bit more detailing to this building. First, I put a tree out the front here. So this is the same design that I have over the other side of the road here. So I've just moved one over to here. Obviously just done a bit of detailing around on the floor as well. Some decal. So again, some of this chipped plasterboard stuff here, which looks cool. A little bit by the window over here. Coming around the front here, I did put a bin down here. There's a bit of decal there as well, a bit of the chipped plaster work. There's a bin here, and at some point that bin does get something put in it, so I will have to keep an eye out for that, and I'll show you once that's done. But this is the other main thing I've done. Oh yes, a bit of aircon again up on the roof here. But yes, I made these little ladders. So these are just used these rod pieces, and so that is just a bit of access there. Again, some more decal there and on the inside here as well. And then I've done another one of them over the back here as well. So people could climb up the ladder onto this roof and then up onto this roof as well. Again, decal at the back, but no more detailing at the back here until I decide what I'm doing. There will obviously be back entrances to these buildings. So basically every building in England has more than one entrance because of health and safety. You've got to have fire escapes, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure every building is going to have at least 2 entrances. So that's that building. It's basically done. Like I say, I think I do just put something in the bin, and other than that, I think this building is done for now. However, the other building that we do, as you can probably see in the distance, is a large block of flats. As we call them in England, we call them flats. In many other countries, they call them apartments. I don't really know where either of those terms come from, but in England, they're known as flats. So there we go. And generally, flats in England are nowhere near as luxurious as apartments are in many other countries. Certainly in America, a lot of people live in apartments, and they're big, spacious places. In England, flats tend to be quite small and cramped and not very nice at all. You do get some nice ones, especially in the big cities like London, but generally flats are, it's sad to say, but they're for people that can't afford to buy houses. It's one of those things. Not everyone can afford a house, but flats are more affordable. So you do tend to get a lot of them in England. So that's what I'm building here. So this is my basic design that I wanted to do. So sort of a, what's that, an N shape, I suppose that is. They really do look this generic as well. So these windows are purposely made to look very, very repetitive, because that is exactly just how they would look in real life. Obviously, I do a lot of detailing. And then what I wanted to do out the front here is a more impressive entrance. Now, this is something you do see on some of these flat buildings. So I think most of these flats that you would see like this, sort of big tower blocks, would have been built in, what are we looking at? Probably the 70s. The 70s in England was the time of the tower block. Maybe not bricks. They tended to be made of concrete back in the 70s in England. These brick ones might be more like the 80s possibly. But yeah, in the 70s certainly concrete tower blocks went up dozens a day kind of thing. It was an incredible time for building in England. But what you'd find in more recent years is you'd get a new owner taking over the building, and what they'd do to try and make the building look a bit smarter and posher, they'd put on a really impressive doorway. So they would build like these glass entrances with grand steps and things, and then inside they still look horrible and small and nasty. But to try and make the buildings look more appealing, they would put on these sort of impressive front doorways and things. So that's what I'm in the process of constructing here. It does change a little bit, but this is the basic idea that I had. I wanted this sort of glass roof structure here with a door at the top here and some big stairs leading up to it. So there we go, that is my plan. So let me continue, load up the next stage and see what I did next. Here we have our entranceway. So it's gone through a few little redesigns, and in fact I think it does change again a little bit. I think these corner pieces that I put in do change again. But yeah, so what I did here, let's have a look at the pieces involved. So these are these bridge support pieces I found. So they're huge square pieces. So I've just sunk them in and moved them up to make these steps. I thought they looked really cool. You've got some of these new pieces as well, these archway pieces. Why can't I select them? There we go. So you've got this one sunken into the ground, and then you've got the curved version of it that comes over the top. So they are, what are they? European bridge platform stone pieces. I thought they looked really nice, and obviously they're the right shape to match the glass roof. So those go along the top, and then I've got a couple framing the door. The door itself, as you can see, is quite a big, grand, impressive door. This is another one of my media boards. So I've just saved it. I've downloaded an image. I've just Googled, posh doors, saved the image as door one, and put it on a billboard, and it makes it look like a nice, impressive front door. Really quite impressed with how good that looks, to be honest. Because like I said, the selection of doors and windows in the game is not good. So there we go. And then I've used these railing pieces. These are great little railing pieces. To create the rails on each side, and then at the ends, because they've got this sort of the sharp edges here, these are the extra pieces that you get. So these pieces here, the aquatic fence end, so I've used these to kind of smooth off the ends of the railings, and again I've had to kind of turn them upside down to get them down into the ground as well there, because they just looked a bit too sharp and pointy, leaving them unrounded. So yeah, it doesn't look perfect. If you look up close, they don't look fantastic, but you kind of get the idea. Certainly from back here it looks much better. It looks nice and rounded off, doesn't it? And again, health and safety in England, there is no way you would be allowed to leave all these pointy out bits at the end, because you'd get young kids walking into them and poking their eyes out. So health and safety in England is a big thing. If you don't live in England, wow, you are lucky. I mean, I don't know how the rest of the world is, but my God, in this country there are so many things that happen purely for health and safety, because 50 years ago one person had an accident on something. That thing cannot be built in the same way again. Basically that's sort of how health and safety works in England. It's a little bit over the top at times, let's just put it like that. And then out the front here, again, this is something that a lot of our big buildings have. You get this sort of bottom layer, so it's the same principle that I had around the bottom of this first office building, where you have another layer of texturing here. So this would probably be fake of some sort, or certainly it wouldn't be a structure, sort of part of the structure. It would just be a layer of stone put onto the front to make it look nice. So they wouldn't have even bothered putting it down the side, because this is like a dark, dingy alleyway down the side. But the front of the building, they'll try and make it look as nice as possible, and so that's what they would do, just put these sort of bits of stonework around the front to make it look a bit smarter. So there we go, that's our entranceway done, and I was really pleased with how that turned out. Like I said, it took me a few attempts, so you didn't get to see any of my failed stairways, but there were a couple before this that just didn't work at all. So that is my finished product, at least. So there we go. So lots of detailing still to be done on the windows and the roof, and I do in fact put a big sign in here, in this gap over the top of the glass roof here. So all of that is still to come. So let me load up our next save point. And here we are with our finished apartment building. So there wasn't a huge amount left to do. So it's just the one cut. You didn't need to see too much really. So let's start with what I was talking about before, my sign. I decided to call this Apple Apartments. I don't know why, but when you have two words and they start with the same letter, it just sounds good. So I did the same over here. You've got Charlie's Cafe, you've got the Insurance Incorporated, and now you've got the Apple Apartment. So this is a sign. Obviously, it's the in-game lettering, and this is the railing pieces. So classic fence that I've coloured black, and then again it's these nice new stone pieces here. So these are sort of the supporting parts of the structure, and then you've got this nice sort of see-through lattice work here. Again, it's not ideal, but it's something that you do see. You see the writing done on sort of a metal lattice work, and obviously there isn't really much lattice work in the game, so I've had to use the fence pieces. I think it looks okay, because you wouldn't want a nice big sort of solid thing there, because you wouldn't want to block light to these apartments here, and it would just look a little bit too big and in your face and silly. And probably expensive as well to actually build it. But anyway, there we go, Apple Apartments. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with the sign there. The roof, I've gone with this lovely green copper stuff. Is it actually copper? Yeah, copper roof. I love the look of this stuff. It's a very old look. So that's again a very simple designed roof. I've given it a little clock tower. I really like all these little pieces here. So this is you've got the square piece with the pointy bit on, obviously the clock fronts, and then the bottom bit here is just some simple brick pillars to create the base. And I think that looks really nice. It suggests that the building was built a long time ago, because again, a long time ago, it's the sort of thing that you would find even on a block of flats in England. We tended to do stuff like this just to try and make the building look a bit fancier. They wouldn't do it in modern days, because these days it's all about making as much profit out of the building as you can, and obviously something like that would be an unnecessary expense. So it wouldn't happen anymore, but it would certainly have happened in the past. And just for the sake of this game, I just felt it needed something there. I was either going to put a window or clock tower, so I went with the clock tower in the end. And then I've just done a little bit of detailing. I put some of the air conditioning units on the outside here. So certain flats, the owners of these flats have invested in some aircon. One or two of them are pumping out a bit of smoke as well. So that's just one of the special effect pieces that I've put on. So you've got one there, you've got one down the bottom there. I think there's one round the side down here kicking out some smoke. Possibly another one at the back. Nope. There's a couple on the back, but they're not kicking out smoke. Yes, they are. Look, this one is just a little bit. Yeah, so yeah, it's a simple little detail, but I kind of like it. And then I've just sporadically, is that the word? Or sporadically? Sporadically, that's the word. Sporadically just added on a few other details. So you've got some washing hanging out on the line here. You've got some window boxes. So I've got some flowers in here and a bit of ivy coming down. Down here you've got another little flower box. Again, you've got some washing hanging up and another window box there. Oh yes, you've got an emergency exit out here. So again, just a simple door with a light and a couple of no entry signs. And then on the back, again, you've got some washing hanging up and a couple more window boxes. There's only so much you can do with windows, really, to decorate them. Window boxes is the only thing, really. I was tempted to try and put some sort of balconies on some of them. You know, sometimes people would actually put a door instead of a window. That's something that does happen in England, where you actually have a door which leads to kind of like a little step. So it's not a full balcony. It doesn't stick miles out. It will only stick out really as much as a window box, but it would have a tall railing on it, so you could actually open the door inwards and then step right out and stand in the doorway, kind of looking out at the world. But I decided not to do that. I might do that on another building at some point, but not on this one. So that's that. I also, like I said, I did change these corner pillars just here. I didn't like the look of them, so they did just change that little bit just to square them off a bit there. And there we go. That's our apartment building. I mean, it's simple, but it really is what I had in mind. You know, it's a very simple block of flats. So there we go. And yes, I know I said we don't call them apartments in England, but sometimes they are called apartments, which is why I called them Apple apartments, because the word apartment sounds a lot posher than flat, doesn't it? And so in England, again, we do tend to try and make things sound better than they are. So, you know, it is the sort of thing that, that they would call a block of flats. They would call them apartments. Because then they can charge more money for them. Quite frankly, that's all it's about these days, isn't it? It's all about the money. So give something a better name, and it can have a bit more money attached to it. So there we go. Oh yes, look, it's there now. Look, a broken umbrella in our dustbin. That's the highlight of this episode. It was again, it's a piece that I hadn't seen before, and I saw it, and I immediately just thought, I want a broken umbrella somewhere. And so you've got a broken umbrella dumped in the dustbin next to the cafe. And also, in fact, I think, yes, look, someone has left behind their cushion and their hat on this bench. These are new pieces. So there's a gondola hat and a gondola cushion. And I just thought, yes, great. Some old man has come along with his cushion and his hat, and he sat down on the bench here and read a book. And then he's got up and walked away and left them behind. And this is the kind of detailing that I love. So whenever I find a new piece that I haven't used and I think I could, I will come back and I will try and find a place for them. So there we go. Well, look, I think that hat is actually floating. Oh no, the cushion's floating. The hat's not. Never mind. So there we go. So they're just little details. Again, whenever I do these things, I will try and remember, and I will come back and show them to you. Oh yes, I also, if you can see here, you see lots of leaves floating around. So that's, again, it's one of these special effects. So I put it in this tree here. It's just leaf blowing or leaf falling or whatever. I kind of like that. So just as you walk around this area, the wind blows and you just get a load of leaves blowing out of the tree. I love that. I think that's such a lovely little effect. And that's the kind of detailing that I want to try and do in this town project. So there we go. Yeah, I love that. I don't remember if I don't. Yes, I did. I think I put one over on this side. Yeah, on one of these trees, I think has it as well. So yeah, so it's a windy day and you just got a few leaves blowing around. There you go. Right, so that's going to do it for this episode. That is our block of flats, our Apple apartments finished. Simple, but it's exactly what I had in mind. Just, you know, enough detailing. Excuse me a second. Excuse me. Do apologise. So yeah, that's, you know, it's exactly what I had in mind. I don't know what I'm going to be doing next to it. I might end up, obviously, if there's another building attached to it, I might have to change some of the detailing on here, or possibly around the back. You know, the town will evolve as I go along, basically, as I come up with new ideas for buildings. You'll also notice I've just dumped a couple of items out the back here, just a couple of backstagey things. Whenever I see a new backstage item in the, you know, in the construction menus, I'm just going to plonk them down so I don't forget about them. So these are just little things that I could use somewhere at some point as backstage stuff. So that's why you might find just a little pile of bits and, you know, just dumped somewhere sometimes. So there's our little town coming along so far, and I'm really pleased with that. I'm having a lot of fun, and I think it's going to look really nice. Like I said, I've already done quite a lot more as well. I've done a large project here, I've done a large project here, and I've started a new project down the side here as well. So there's quite a lot already going on, and I'm very pleased with how it's looking so far. I'm having a lot of fun with it. So in our next episode, we will be working in this area over here. So this road is going to get rebuilt, and I put in a very large building in here, but I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it is one single large building. In fact, I'm going to tell you it's going to be a shop of some sort, but I'm not going to tell you what. You're going to have to wait and tune in and find out what it is. But yes, it goes in here, and I'm very pleased with it. So let's leave it there. Thank you very, very much for being with me today. I do hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you have, please do hit the like button. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And hopefully I will see you again very soon. Until then, do take care, and bye for now.